I actually kept having people tell me, hey, you should get into real estate. And I was like, no, because I'm going to be honest, most agents that I met, I thought were kind of fake and rude. And I was like, that's not who I am. And being a banker too, a lot of them would come in and have a tax lien. And I'm like, those people don't pay their bills. So I was afraid to take the leap of faith and do real estate. And I was working in a bank at that time that paid for me to get my license. So it kind of worked out because I was doing commercial loans and training and so forth.
Hey everyone, Shaune Corbett here, Real Estate Success DFW, your podcast here in the local DFW market where we interview the best agents we can get our hands on and bring you their story and their success. Today we have the Denton Realtor, Chrissy Malif, and I've known Chrissy actually for a while. We actually almost did a transaction probably about 10, 12 years ago. It's been a long time. And I've seen her and I know that she sells a ton of real estate because she's in the city kind of north of me. So how are you, Chrissy?
I am wonderful. Thank you for asking. How are you today?
And I'm doing unbelievably well. So I appreciate you asking. Chrissy has got a great story for you, and she's going to give a lot of tips and stuff from her successes and things that she's had to go through in order to get to where she is today. I'll give a few highlights. Most of you know in my group, there's three things I like to cover. Anything that we can do that's duplicatable, meaning anybody can do it. Anything we can do that costs little to no money, because most of us don't have big expense accounts to start our business. We got to build it from other ways. And then anything we can do that's sustainable, things that we can do today and repeat it over and over again. And you could do it indefinitely. So a lot of this is not so much the cold calling or the heavy lifting things. It's about things that you can do today to build your business. All that sound pretty fair, Chrissy?
That sounds great. No, I love it.
I know some of the insides of some of your topics, so I feel pretty confident we're going to achieve those things. But I always like to start with a little bit of background. Can you
Okay.
tell people where you're from and how you got into real estate? I always kind of start there.
Okay, this is going to be a fun little story. So, I'm actually born, I'll go back, born in San Antonio. Parents divorced when I was about 10. My mom moved us to Denton, Texas when I was 10 years old. And I'm only like 20 now, but now I'm mid 40s. So, it gives you a little range there. But we moved here as a kid, single mom. And I was kind of raised by my grandparents. And so I say I have a lot of my values from my grandparents still. Grew up here in Denton, went to school here, started at age 20 in the banking world and quickly moved my way up. Back in those days, like you get a job as a teller, call center, and you were making $7 an hour, and then $9 an hour, and then 15. It's like it was old school days. And I worked my way up, but I say a lot of what I've learned from the business, I would say with my relationships and like my service skills are from my banking days. So I worked in the banking world for a long time and got married to a guy that I met through the bank that I trained. He came from a different bank. We had our first child, and around that time is when I decided to jump into real estate. I actually kept having people tell me, hey, you should get into real estate. And I was like, no, because I'm going to be honest, most agents that I met, I thought were kind of fake and rude. And I was like, that's not who I am. And being a banker too, a lot of them would come in and have a tax lien. And I'm like, those people don't pay their bills. So I was afraid to take the leap of faith and do real estate. And I was working in a bank at that time that paid for me to get my license. So it kind of worked out because I was doing commercial loans and training and so forth. So jumped into the real estate and got licensed right in 2008 when the market crashed. Could not have picked the worst time to get into the market. And just to be fully transparent, I went full time and it was hard. I had deals, but I also had closings that weren't closing because the appraisal like was bad. And we were in a financial spot where we had one kid in daycare and another kid on the way. And my husband and I were like, we can't live off credit cards. Like we can't put ourselves in debt for you to achieve your dream. And I was like, I'm not giving up. So what I did at that time, after about 8 months of being full-time real estate, I called the bank back and I was like, listen, even if I have to be a teller, I just need a paycheck and benefits right now. And so I went back to the banking world for a while until the market picked back up. And my husband looked at me one day and was like, I think you need to go full time again. And then we jumped back. And I would say that was probably about 2012, 2013. So from 2008 to 2013, I was working nonstop, working at the bank 8 to 5 and chasing my goals on the nights and weekends with my kids in the back seat, tagging along with me, whatever, and have not looked back since. So, a little bit about me.
Yeah, and you've done incredibly well. I know that, you're selling 100 houses a year, which not even the top 0.5% are there. I mean, it's a very, very good spot to be in. And I know a lot of that is not about cold marketing or people you don't know, like, or trust. You primarily work sphere or people you have some type of relationship with.
Correct.
I know, Chrissy, you lead with relationship first. I know that's going to be your core value.
Mhm.
Because I know enough about you and I've listened to some of your trainings and stuff. And I know that's really, really important. I think if agents could learn to get better in that space, it would multiply their benefits and multiply their opportunities because people know they're sincere and not just there to be a transaction, but to do something more long term.
Yes, no, that's
Um,
true. I've always said like be authentic and be who you are.
One of the core things that you've done is you describe, I think, yourself as a community leader, which means that you take positions and opportunities when they come up that
Mhm.
will benefit the community first. And by
Mhm.
being in those positions, it's going to inevitably create opportunities for you to build those relationships and connect with people that way. Can you maybe give some examples of some of that and how that's really worked for you?
I mean, and I can even give a perfect small example of what I did yesterday, which is it's not me being a true leader, but I stepped up and I helped. So there was a recent post yesterday where a parent had posted that a school in town it doesn't have the budget because the way the economic needs are of the school for their kids to go to a camp, and they want these fifth graders to go to camp, and they were short. They needed $3,000, and I was like, hold on, I know people, and I just jumped on board right away, and I reshared her post and was like, hey, if you can give $5, $10, whatever it is, like let's help these kids get to camp. And it was just a way to jump in and make a difference. And I think as this morning she said we're over $1,000. So I'm like, just from everybody giving like $5, $10 Venmo, and it just adds up. But there's been other times where there was a time a couple years ago where we had the Snowmageddon in Denton and everyone, the DFW Metroplex. And we found out in Denton that there were a lot of the trailer park communities that didn't have water. And I was like, oh, like at all. Like they'd opened everything back up and these people weren't able to cook, clean, shower. And so we pulled together, like on Facebook, a grassroots community, and we still have that page. And so we all came together however we could help, and we found places to where we could donate jugs of water. People could come bring stuff. We called the city of Denton Waterworks, which is like our indoor natatorium, and they had water. And we're like, can you open it up so these kids could go back to school and take showers? Because the school was starting and these kids didn't have places to shower. And so we opened it back up. And at that time, we had places, for just people to get towels, their stuff, just all their core needs. I don't know. There's so many different times. Like anytime, that's just, I think my heart, if I know there's something going on, I'm going to be there to jump in. And it might not be all me leading, but I find people that are like minded and that can help. Or I post on Facebook, like, hey, here's a need that I have. This family needs a turkey. They don't have Thanksgiving. I mean, years ago, I think I mean, it may have been like 2015, 2016. I did that. I said, I'm going to sponsor a family like a family dinner. And I tagged 5 other agents. And I was like, I'm going to tag 5 other agents. Now, will you sponsor a family where you're at? And then they took and they tagged 5 other agents. And it became this little like domino effect where all of us in this like whole area were like giving people. Then it ended up in a different area where they were giving families. So it's like you can never limit yourself. I don't know. I just think it's like if there's something small to where if anybody needs something, I'm always going to be there to jump.
Let me ask you something. I don't know what it is. I like psychology and the way people do the way they do. And we all see crisis and things that happen, but
Yeah.
not all of us jump in and say, I want to be the one to make a change.
Yeah.
So, what is it that when you see things like that, do you think it has to do with maybe your upbringing where you had time where you did without and
Yeah. Yeah.
and you have that empathetic space where you say, I know what that feels like, and no one looked after me when I was in need.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you're probably right. I think there's a little bit of like everybody has a story, and a little my story is there are moments like that to where, like I said, my parents divorced. My mom was living on a single income. My dad died when I was young. There were times that my mom couldn't pay the utility bills, and I remember coming home and it was dark, and I'm like, okay, well, this is like it didn't phase me, but looking back to where it's like we would have something small in the refrigerator to eat for like lunch, and I'm like, well, back then it was like, pepperoni and cheese slices, and I thought it was still fine. But I also had epilepsy growing up. So like I think it's just like I've come from that core of like when I was little, I was a Girl Scout. So you just kind of have that like sense of being able to give and take care of the neighbor. And that's why like I love the whole like just sharing kindness. And it's like I even tell my kids like one smile or one compliment can make someone's day. Like it really is. So when you're going through a convenience store, you're at the, next time you're shopping groceries, like as defeated as you can be, just smiling and like talking to someone and just something simple can make it could have been weeks before they've had a compliment or anything. So I don't know. It's just I do think a lot of it goes back to just my past. You're right.
Let me ask you about the epilepsy. So we talked about, and I remember you talking about telling the story before. When did that come up? Do you know what caused it? Do you know how it impacted you growing up? What's some impact there?
Actually born with it. I don't know what happened, but yeah, so I was born with it, and when I was real little, I had started having real bad, the grandma like real bad seizures. So my childhood, I spent years in Easter Seals and then Scottish Rites Hospital. I still have like crooked mouth from like so much seizures being pulled, and I have hemiplegia on the whole left side of my body. So like I'm fine motor skills. So like when I was little, I had to have like specially made Velcro clothes. I didn't get to ride a bike until I was probably like 11 years old. I'm going to be honest. I never gave up, but I can ride a bike now. I'm good. But I like it took me a while. So I was a little bit slower to develop and just do basic skills that like other people would. So in high school, back in my days, they taught typing course. And I was like, oh, great. How am I going to do this? Well, my teacher, it was like me and one other guy. He had a one arm. And I remember looking at him with one arm. I'm like, that guy can play tennis. I can't even play tennis. And he was great. But I was like, if someone else can do this, and I don't need to like make myself feel so bad on myself. So we did. I'm the fastest one-handed typer you're ever gonna meet. And so like I just have like here's my hand. You can probably see it, but I'll like be talking sometimes and it looks like I'm like giving someone like flipping off, and I promise I'm not. But it's like it just doesn't like so like it bends, but this is like how does that make sense? Like they just
Yeah.
have like so, but it's what I've never let it. I don't let it limit me. It's like I tell people don't let things like that define who you are. And I've contained like that positive mindset of like everybody gets thrown an obstacle. There's always something that's going to happen in your life, but you just move forward and stay positive. And I think a lot of it is that positive mindset that no matter what, when I have bad days or even bad deals in real estate, like I always believe like if I have to let one go, something else comes back in return better.
Yeah. And a lot of us have a hard time letting go of those opportunities, or if their best friend or their sibling or someone they're close to works with somebody else, they always take it personal.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I still sometimes will get my feelings hurt a little bit because I'm like, why'd they call in? But then I'm like, you know what? Maybe there's a reason why. There is a reason why we weren't meant to be in that transaction together, and I'm not gonna hold them. Like it's fine. I just move past it, and I actually like I don't hold on to it. I like if I see them in public, I still talk to them. I congratulate them. Like even if I see it on Facebook, I'm like, ugh. But I'll still heart it and say congratulations. I mean, it's be kind, and I don't want to look bitter, so it's not who I am.
It is. It can be very hard
Yeah,
not to do that, but I try to keep people in perspective. You're never going to build your business on your best friends and family members.
no.
So
And
if
this
you
is
can
our
let
hardest
that
clients.
go, yeah,
Yeah.
if you can let that go, then it becomes a lot easier to deal with because they're likely not going to work with you. They don't want to hurt your relationship. They don't want you to know about their personal financial concerns and issues. Or the number one reason I call it the law of familiarity, they're too close to you. Now, they know you too well and they know all your shortcomings.
Hmm.
And they're like, well, I don't want to bring that into our transaction. Even though you're a terrific realtor, they still look at and focus on the things that, well, I don't want to have any problems because of these shortcomings. And they just they're too close.
Yeah. No, that's true. I believe it. I mean, I've been licensed since 2008, and my two closest best friends since like high school, I didn't help them with their house, but I'm okay. And guess what? I still have dinner with them every couple months. Like it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. My my sister-in-law, I think they've done at least 8 transactions and not once called me. Never. Until they need to save money on taxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was about to say I kind of go because I'm like I'm still the one they'll call. Like, who's your contractor that you use? I'm like, oh, I guess I'll help you with that. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah. And to me, I mean, I'll always help them. And I've learned to say, I know I'm too close to them.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't reach out for some of the things that they're good at because I know them too well.
Yeah. No,
I don't know if I could trust they give me the best advice, even though they probably could.
it's true. I
Um,
get
so we
that.
talked about being a community realtor, but something really more specific and close to home, I think, for agents is, and all agents can do this. I know women tend to be a little bit better at client appreciation events and client events in general. All of us can create an opportunity where we bring clients together. I know client events is a big part of your business. and you'll have some ongoing regular events you do every year. And then sometimes you won't do it, but you might do it the next year, just depending, and I know you do a lot of give backs and those things. Can we get some specific things that agents can do as far as client events and things that they can make use of today to really build those relationships and show clients that, hey, I'm looking for a relationship, not just a paycheck. I want to build life together. And you think of me because you like
Mhm.
me and know and trust me, that maybe you'd consider me for other things.
Yes. No, and there's so many different ways. So like there used to be, Denton doesn't have it anymore, but we had like I think it's a Papa Murphy's pizza, and I did like a heart-shaped pizza for Valentine's Day. So I went ahead and I put out there like a Facebook event with like a sheet that people could sign up for. And I said, I'm ordering this many pizzas, first come, first serve if you register. And I had them come pick it up. And then when they picked them up, I also had pre-ordered some pizza cutters with my name and my brand on it, which people love pizza cutters. I still go all over this town. People are like, your pizza cutter is my favorite pizza cutter. So like every time you get a Friday night pizza, they're using my pizza cutter. So like that event was something easy. It wasn't expensive because really it was already a heart-shaped pizza. I went and got a little sticker, like the Avery labels that you buy, made my own little labels and stuck it on top of their sticker. Does that make sense? Without spending a ton of money. I've done events where every summer I love watermelon. It's just, I'm not a big fruit girl, but I love watermelon. So every summer I support a local farmer from our farmer market, and I will pre-order watermelons. And I have same thing, a drive-through experience where either I'll have them drive through for a couple hours and pick one up at my office. I've had it at my house before. You can have it at a different venue, but here I have my own office, so I usually just put it up here in the parking lot because watermelons are heavy. I don't want to have to haul those around. And we have people come pick it up. So it's super fun. And then I've had, let's see, we've done like flower events, Mother's Day in the park one time. Like during Mother's Day, I thought I was going to take care of like single moms because not everybody, can treat their parents. So I did one thing where it was like a Mother's Day in the park, and we did something so simple with like light snacks. And then, of course, I gave everybody like a little bag with like a bath bomb and a little mirror that just says you're beautiful. Just as a reminder, be like, hey, like no matter what you're going through, just know that you're beautiful. They're just the little ways that you can go and help people. I do a client appreciation called Chrissy Giving, which is like I said, my big event. But that's one of those where I ask my clients to come in, give to the charity of my choice that we pick that time. I write a big check presentation and I have vendors help pay. So we have like fajita dinner or a nacho bar. We have like a little photograph area. We have girls who twirl who do the cotton candy. So it's all my events are family friendly. So that's one thing for me. It's like I built my business, I think, from my organic spirit and the community. And so I always try to make it to where it's like anyone and everyone can come. So it's like you're gonna have kids that are 2 years old and you could have older kids. This year we did Singo Bingo and we gave prizes for the winners. And just different stuff like that. We do Christmas with Santa. Forever, I didn't do that because I saw so many other realtors that were doing that, and I was like, oh, it's probably overdone. And then I was like, wait a minute, no, because these are my people. And so what I realized, like, it's not that expensive to get a Santa Claus, to be honest, and you get a photographer. I have Santa out for a couple hours and they get that one-on-one time as opposed to if you have a kid that, gets really nervous when they're at the mall and there's a lot of distractions. Here I'm able to shut the door and and Santa just gets that, it's just that special moment, if that makes sense. So I love it because literally like there was one kid one time that like Santa knew who his principal was, and oh my gosh, he was just like, oh, he knows my principal. And I was like, oh. And then it was just the magic of the moment. So we do that, and that, like I said, doesn't cost much. I have a twist with mine because I have a yard. I have a holiday llama that comes out in our fenced in yard, and so that's probably like the most expensive thing I get is the llama, but that doesn't have to be done. You can tweak it from there. And that's, I don't know, it's fun. I do movie events just throughout the year. If there's a movie that like I personally like, or it's something that's like I know I can have fun with, I'll rent the movie theater and we'll do the same thing. We'll put a spreadsheet out and get some vendors to help us. And then we do something simple from like I've done Clueless, I did the Barbie movie. I mean, just my brand colors are pink, so I always like to try to do something too that would go based off that and make it fun.
What, how much, out of curiosity, is it the one off 35 and the movie
Yeah,
theater there?
yeah.
How much
My
does it cost to rent
it
do you
was
do it during the day, like a matinee?
yeah, I did, yeah, and I think it was like 900 for the whole movie theater. You don't even have to do the whole movie theater. Like next time I could have just, I think depending on the hours, I think I did like it was like a $900, and then I didn't even bring snacks. Like I just told them like you're I'm paying for your movie. Like one time I did where it's like I had the vendor pay for like a lender said they'll pay for popcorn. So everybody got popcorn and a drink and they had a ticket when they walked in to go redeem it. But yeah, it was worth it for me because we had a little like prop set up whenever we first walked in, and I had everybody like, I gave them pink sunglasses for like, I think it was the Barbie movie was something else. I'm trying to think what I did for Clueless because it was something 90s. I went 90s with Clueless, but it was fun because people were dressing up too. So I've seen them done it. I had a friend one time that did like a Star Wars thing where it's like they had the little, props and but it's so family friendly, and it's the only thing with those is you don't get a lot of time to chat with them. But what I do is like I right before I have like a red carpet type of it where they walk in and we say hi, and then after the movie theater will let you get a couple minutes before you dismiss. And that's when I stand up and I thank them for coming and how much I appreciate them. And then I let my sponsor get up and say a few words as well. But yeah, it's always fun.
Okay. You dumped a lot of things, so I'm going to go through a couple of things.
You're
Okay.
good. You're good.
Um, you got some really clever ideas, and a lot of them I haven't even really thought about. But like, let's say the pizza cutter, for example, none of us are going to go and buy, a $30 pizza cutter, right? A really nice one.
Right.
We'll
Yes.
get whatever we get at Walmart or Target. That's probably $8 to $10. But maybe you do get the upgraded one. You buy it in volume. Maybe that 30 one's $20. Now they have a nice wooden
Yeah.
with your stamp of your brand, and maybe every year you give that to everyone in your client list. You
I,
think
and
they're
I,
not going to throw it away, and they're going to
no.
use it, even though they wouldn't buy one that expensive. The fact that they have a nice one, they're going to make use of it, and it's going to be a really good tool. They'll remember you going forward, and every year you can pick a different utensil, or these are things
And
you
I
can do.
do that. I have like different things that I buy every year. You're right. Because I bought the pizza cutters one year and they were so popular that I bought them again. And so I always try to buy something that can be used at the house because it's like you're saying, I have an ice cream scoop. I've had a bottle opener. I've had all different, I have a pie server. The pie server, it was a little more plastic for my liking, but it still had like I used it when I gave away pies one year and I gave a pie server. But the pizza cutter one, for some reason, I will have people like walk up to me and they're like, you're the pizza cutter girl. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it's like, never even met him before. But I gave, like, when I do the new teacher, I work with Denton ISD a lot, and I work their new Denton ISD teacher hire event. And they hire, depending on the year, 500 to like 1,000 teachers a year or staff. And so I always have like a table set up with different items. And like, that's one of those items that they'll be like, pizza cutter, or, and I let them spin the wheel for something else fun that they can win. But yeah, those pizza cutter for whatever it is, if you're buying 100 or 125, like, I'm telling you, you could even go give them to your neighbors or your people in your group or your spirit, and it's easy.
Okay. Most of us know Thanksgiving, Christmas, maybe Valentine's Day. These are standard realtor type event type days. And only you and I, people that sell a lot of real estate know they are. The
Yes.
average agent doesn't know it is because they haven't been doing it long enough or know that those are common realtor event days. But picking out like, and I heard you and Shauna talking, Papa or not Papa, Dad days and Mother's Day. Those days are really good opportunities to connect, family oriented, recognizing the father, recognizing the mother, and
Mhm.
that would be almost more engaging and opportunistic because no one else is going to be doing it.
No, you're right. Not a lot of people do because I mean, and don't get me wrong, like I even growing up, like with my kids, I'd always tell my husband, like, I work so much that Mother's Day, I just want it laid back. Like I would be fine going to the park and having sandwiches with my kids and not having to worry about any like big hurrah fancy dinner. So like I like moments like that where I could go in. I've had someone, I haven't done it, but I had a friend in a different state that said, hey, I'm gonna treat 20 moms to a blowout. And then they paid like a local stylist, for all of them to come in and get their hair blown and fixed. I'm like, just little things. Or I had another friend that did one where it was like a local brewery, and it was like the dads came out and then they had like bought them all beer, and like the dads were treated to a beer. So there are so many different avenues that you can go. And I tell people, like, find something that you like. Like I'm just not a big drinker, so that wouldn't work for me, but I could take them to like a coffee shop, or I could take them to the ice cream shop. I mean, ice cream is so cheap, guys. Like you'd be surprised. Like find a local place at the end of the school year every year. I usually do that, not the last day of the school year, but like that last week because everyone usually has half days or whatever. I'll go up there and I'll say, hey, between this time and this time, here's the magic code word. And then ice cream's treated on me. And then I have like a little sign that says something up there for them. Or you could be there. I've also done it to where I'm there to see people. Snow cone. We have Wild West shaved ice. I do that a lot. I'll do little pop-up events with them and say, hey, the code word this day, I'm going to treat you on snow cones, it's ice baby or something like that. And then they're tagging you when they're going to those places. So they'll be like, thanks, Chrissy. Oh my gosh, we loved your ice. Or like, hey, I've never known about this business. So not only that, you're connecting them to businesses that they've never been to or they wanted to try. And so the amount of like just maybe cost me like $300, if that, to do the snow cones. But it was an easy thing to do. And people will just start like, they'll put you on your story or their Facebook and tag you. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
I want to reach out a little bit about that, them tagging you, or
Yeah.
you, or a lot of us as agents are worried, well, someone else might be doing pies at Thanksgiving. I want to go back to that.
Yes.
So, and you said it right. Your audience is your audience, not other people's
Yes.
audience. I'll
Mhm.
back it up because we're talking to agents. That's my primary audience for the podcast. Agents worry about sharing newsletter advice or things like that because they're afraid it's the same information another agent sharing. But the reality is your database is your database.
Yes.
And Chrissy and I are probably 20 miles apart. And I don't think we have one person in common. We can share the exact same message and we're going to get maximum benefit and there's no overlap. So your audience is your audience, and
Mhm.
my audience is my audience. So we don't need to stress about doing things that other people are doing. And most of your friends don't have a realtor as involved in their life as you. So
Correct.
doing pies for your audience, you'll get the full benefit. So
Yep.
don't hold back because of that reason. I think I've heard that a number of times as well. And the other thing is like, okay, let's go back to renting the movie theater, or I like doing, let's say, an event in a park and then having food trucks come out,
Oh
right?
yeah.
There's some really easy things. You create everything, you get the full benefit, and they can buy the food truck information stuff, and maybe you pick up the bill for the ice cream, because you said ice cream's inexpensive, and picking up
Mhm.
ice cream for everybody to show up and they get two scoops
Yeah.
is pennies, right? I mean, it's just not going to be that expensive. You give them a big tip and everybody wins. And but the big thing is you don't have to pay for all this yourself.
Correct.
And I
Yes.
think everyone overlooks that. And everyone, we all have a lender partner. We probably all have a title partner. I encourage you to have an insurance partner and
Mhm.
have a roofing partner and have an inspection partner. I have all of them because I
Yes.
do a lot of big things and they, like, for example, they support my podcast
Yeah.
and they pay the subscription and the way I'm pushing this out to everyone. They're covering that as I'm expanding this. And they're willing to do it because it's helping my business and I give them all of the opportunities. They get first at bat at anything I touch.
Yes.
Vendors
Exactly.
will pay for it.
They
And
will. They want
don't
to be
lose
your
sight of
partner.
that.
Nope, you're right. Because I'm kind of like where you were just saying, like at first I was eating the bill and I was like afraid to ask, which is funny because I have no problem asking when it's like a nonprofit charity or something I'm passionate about, but I felt like greedy at first. I was like, oh gosh, I'm asking these business people. But then I was like, wait, no, they want to help me. And then when I did, you're right, the amount of like the first time I asked, like I'm not joking, that day I came into my desk and I had 4 checks sitting in my desk. Like, and I was like, oh, you didn't have to get to me that fast, but they were willing and able to help. And like your roofer, you're right, my roofer this year, he stepped up big time and helped us at Chrissy Giving. So it makes a difference.
And they cannot give money in a lot of ways, but sharing and marketing is the easiest way they can spend money to give back to you and your business. They can't pay you any other way. So
Mhm.
in some way, it's a consideration of you, earning more because you have less expense.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the way you got to really think about it. So really make those partnerships work really well for you. Anything else you want to share regarding the events and things like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no limit. Like, and that's the deal. It's like, and you can go small or go big. Like you were saying, the park. I love the park I did because you don't have to pay to be at a park. You can pick a neighborhood park. You can pick a city park. I know for us, the city didn't. I mean, you can rent a pavilion for maybe $100 something, and if you're like are a member at the city, it's cheaper rate. So it's yeah, there's little things you can do. I mean, and like you said, I've even bought my own ice cream myself and had my coolers and brought like popsicles, like the good old ones you cut, like I mean, it's easy. So yeah, just go have fun. Make it fun. That's all it is.
I used to rent out the pavilion that could view the Gaylord Texan on Friday nights. I rented that out because I used to have a brokerage for about 10 years, and I'd have everybody in their entire family come out, and then we would grill up food for them, and we would start about 6, end about 9 o'clock or whenever the fireworks would go off. That's when we would take off. So we got a fireworks show at the end, and the cost of the pavilion I think was only a couple $100, and it was in a really prime spot and it was private. We got a little beach and it wasn't that expensive. And my vendors, they covered most of the costs for me to do it. The food and the pavilion, So it was an easy thing for me to be able to set up and give back to agents. Now you can do the same thing for clients, but I'm just using the agent as an example. And I did it right there at the beginning of the summer because it was our agent kickoff party because summers are the busiest. So I wanted to kick it off and say, hey, let's get ready for the summer. I want to go ahead and give back to you guys, get you guys fired up. And then of course I'd give a speech and do things like that. But it was really kind of a fun thing. And it was not very expensive.
No, that's fun too. Yeah, they probably look forward to it every single year because that's how I feel like now with some of my events that I do yearly. It's like there was one year, I think it was in 24, I think 24, I did not do Chrissy Giving just because I was so crazy. My numbers were kind of off and I was scared to eat the cost myself. And then I had some people text me, did I miss the invite? And I was like, oh, y'all actually love that. And then I knew at that moment, I was like, I'm going to ask my vendors to help. I'm going to ask. And then that's what happened this year. And it was great.
If most of you listening can't tell, she speaks from heart and experience. Like she has energy, she has passion, and it drives her and it gives her that energy to give back. If you got to find that sometimes, and some of us it doesn't come as natural. You get really passionate about things you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be events, it could be military, it could be first-time home buyers. What can I do to help first-time home buyers really get over this? Because it's very stressful. They've never done anything this large financially in their life. And what can you do to make it more comfortable and creating events that make it more comfortable for them? You can do this in any one of your areas of real estate.
I love first time home buyers still, believe it or not. Like all these years later, it's for me, it's becoming part of their story. That's what I tell people. It's the moments that you get to experience when you have that person that closes on the house and it's the first time they've had a dishwasher and they're excited to wash dishes, or are their kids run into the house because it's their first time to have stairs, just anything like, and those are the moments that I tell people, like, and you don't forget those moments. I mean, I can see a family member from like probably 2010 and I still can remember moments like that were special, and I can jump right in and have a conversation. And I think that's what kind of keeps me going. Like even in crazy markets, it's like you're still a part of someone's story. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely can relate. And when you have those impressions, they impress on you, and then you'll remember the client better and you'll remember the situation, you'll remember the emotion. Definitely important. I'm going to post in our YouTube channel your contact information, including your phone number and the guest website, which is chrissymalif.com. So pretty straightforward. Any questions for the Denton Realtor, you're welcome to reach out to her. And she has been an open book for me every time I've asked her and talked to her. And she was giving everything away with the podcast the training that we did the other day. So I appreciate you, Chrissy. Anyone out there that wants to know more about her, please subscribe or take a look at our Real Estate Success DFW website and podcast. We'll give you all the information about Chrissy and her success. And if you have not subscribed, please do. Until then, have a high performance week, and we'll see you the next podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
That wraps up another episode of Real Estate Success DFW. I hope you're leaving with new insights that push your real estate career forward. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with fellow agents who's ready to succeed. And if you're interested in working together or have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me directly. My personal phone is 214-228-0383. Let's connect and make real estate success happen together. Until next time, keep pushing forward. I'm Shaune Corbett, and this is the Real Estate Success DFW. Have a high